The race for the 48th District Senate seat is heating up. Yesterday we had incumbent Democrat Darrell Albertine on. Today we welcome David Renzi, the Republican challenger. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, in your campaign ads, you say that Albany is a mess and that you are going to clean it up. First of all, what do you see as the mess specifically?
Sure. You know, there's been a policy in the state of New York of spend for years, and we're spending more now than we have. And what's happening is the burden is being put on the taxpayers, businesses being driven out of the state, and it's dysfunctional. And I think something needs to be done about it, and done about it immediately.
And what would you do about it?
Certainly what I'd do is I'd go down and be a strong and effective advocate, I believe, to at least call out what it is. And the second thing I think I'd be able to do is to work with other like-minded individuals in office to try and bring about real change. I'm not going to bring back excuses. What I'm going to do is go down there and try and make alliances with people of similar interests as we have in central and northern New York and work for real change in the state. And then on a local level, make sure we have fair aid being brought back.
Who do you blame for the mess in Albany?
I think there's a lot of blame to go around in all aspects of it. And I think, mostly I think I blame the New York City liberal agenda of spend. I mean, we've got a $125 billion budget this year, and obviously there's a crisis with that. They're talking about cutting $1 billion off. Well, I think $1 billion can be cut off if we just trim the excessive waste, and there's a lot of it to go around. So ultimately, what do I blame? I think I blame politicians doing things as usual. And I think we need somebody new with a new voice and to try and call it out.
Now, the Senate has been dominated by Republicans for the last 70 years or so. Mm-hmm. Jim Wright himself was a Republican senator for 15 years representing our district. Do you lay blame with the Republicans and or Jim Wright? Well,
I think there was a part of that he went along with a lot of the spending issues, but the difference is Jim Wright was able to bring back aid for the region. We haven't had that in 6 months. It's been issue after issue after issue of state aid not coming to central and northern New York. And now at a time with the budget crunch the way it is, I think it's more important than ever to have somebody in the Senate seat that's able to bring back real fair aid to our district. We're not getting that now.
Okay. There was a report in the Albany Times-Union which says that state records show more than 120,000 state agency employees collected more than $459 million in overtime. We're talking about some people that are regularly paid $38,000 a year, that when they add up their overtime, they're making more than $100,000 a year. How would you combat that?
Sure. I mean, that's typical as to what we talked about earlier, the waste in government. Government needs to be run like a business, and right now we're not. Right now, the state is just trying to hand out checks left and right. Government needs to be run like a business. We need to give the taxpayers of our district an opportunity for real jobs, real economic growth, and government needs to get out of the way in a lot of cases. So on a state level, we need to cut the waste. On a local level, we need to make sure that we're being treated fairly.
Now, last week you held a news conference calling for Old Town-style debates.
Sure. Yeah, I'm excited.
How's it going?
Well, it's going well. I mean, what I'm trying to accomplish with that is to make sure that this campaign doesn't turn into the circus that happened last winter. I want to have real questions from real individuals talking to the different candidates and let the people make the choice as to who they think is most qualified to represent the Senate district. I'm hoping that we'll get good turnouts. We've got at least 8 scheduled now, and I'm hoping they're going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, during your news conference, you said, quote, "What I don't want this campaign to turn into is the old-style dysfunctional politics, which is coming out with a silly press release and not having to answer your opponent face-to-face." By holding that news conference, by not calling up Darrell Albertine and saying, hey, you want to hold some... are you contradicting yourself there?
No. Listen, there has to be some kind of a mechanism to get the ball rolling here, and that's all that was. I'm not going to be able to get a phone call through to him. But nobody's unable to ever communicate with me. When the media calls me, I'm there to answer the questions. I don't have a spokesperson, me, David Renzi, and I think that's what the Senate needs. The Senate district needs is somebody there accountable to answer those questions. So, you know, what I want here is a fair, open campaign with no negativity, and just let the people make the decisions. But I can promise you, if you call me up to ask me media questions, it'll be me giving the message.
All right, Dave Renzi, thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back with Mr. Food. Stay tuned.